Yo, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. We are headed to Dirt Lab Suspension today, and they're going to be doing a custom tune on my Bomber Air rear shock on my Commensal Tempo. We're going to first meet up with Luby, who's the owner and founder of Dirt Labs, and he's going to explain to us if and when a rider should think about getting custom tuned suspension. And then we're going to link up with Dave, who's one of their suspension techs, and he's going to explain exactly what they're doing to my Bomber Air shock to increase its performance for my specific needs. And then to wrap up the video, I'm going to toss the GoPro on and take you for a lap on my first ride of this new shock and give you my initial impressions of what for me will be my first ever custom tuned rear shock. So let's get into it.
My name's Mike Lubismeyer. I go by Luby. A lot of people ask if it's an industry name. No, had that since I was a kid. And I started Dirt Lab Suspension in 2008. Here we are, 8 employees, about 5,000 repairs a year, and loving it. Why would customers get their suspension tuned? That's a great question. I'd say 90% of the riders out there can get their bike dialed in within the parameters of a stock shock or fork. That's set up for the bike that they're riding, leverage ratios and whatnot. If they find themselves at the end of those adjustments, for example, you're asking for more rebound, your rebound's wide open, that's a custom tuned scenario. I encourage people to try and get it within the realm and stay up on service, because that helps. The seals will dry out. If you're running air in your shock, that fades, oil breaks down. Make sure you're up on your services, but if you still can't get it to feel right, maybe it does need a custom tune to where we just, let the rebound be faster or slower, or more compression or less compression, more progressive, whatnot. So.
What was that, Dave?
150 PSI.
What gas is in there?
Nitrogen.
Nice.
Kind of somebody who's really trying to get into getting the optimal performance out of their suspension. I'd say the first steps is make sure you keep everything clean and lubed. Outside of the suspension, make sure your tire pressure is always consistent, because that plays a part in it. Headset tight, all that stuff. Make sure your bike's dialed overall and take care of it. If you're riding hard, get your suspension rebuilt minimum once a year, maybe twice, or at least do like the 50-hour services. Outside of that is, if they really want to dive into like doing their own seals, there's a ton of stuff on the manufacturer's website that is the most accurate out there. Pay attention, the manufacturer stuff is spot on. It's got the right specs. There's some bad stuff out there you kind of got to watch out for. I can't really name anything. Race Tech has a good book if you really want to dive into it. Yeah, manufacturers, do your homework, and then like learn about bracketing and all that, and then just like find a place, session it up, do one adjustment at a time, and make sure you have all the basic settings consistent, tire pressure, all that. So.
My name is Dave Parman, and I am a suspension technician. I started out working for Push Industries back in 2011, and we did a lot of custom tuning for people that would send their shocks in for specific bikes and rider weights and that kind of thing. And I did that for a bunch of years, and now I'm here over at Dirt Labs and starting to do the same thing here, getting into the tuning aspect of things a little bit more, and it's been a lot of fun. So he's got a Marzocchi Bomber Air, and we decided to do a retune on the compression and the rebound stacks internally. So he was running a medium rebound tune and a medium compression tune, and we lightened both of those up. So we put some thinner shims essentially in there to create a little bit more compliancy out of the damper, and to allow the rebound circuit to open up a little bit easier, and to give him a little better range on his external low speed rebound and compression adjustments. So you should have, as far as bump sensitivity with the compression adjustment that we made, the shock should allow it to open up a little bit easier and flow over those bumps a little bit smoother. Should allow the back end of the bike to track a little bit easier. Rebound, I know you were looking for a little bit faster rebound, and the stack was pretty stiff internally. So it's gonna allow the back end of the bike to recover quicker for any given hit. So it's hopefully not going to pack down as much as maybe it was before. And again, having that external adjustment range, you're going to be able to use that a little bit more. And yeah, I think overall it's going to be a great setup for you. So I would start with your rebound at about 5 to 6 clicks from the open position. So go full open and then back in 5 to 6 clicks. That'll give you a range to work with, either faster or slower, depending on what you want to do. And on your compression, I would start right in the middle. So there's no clicks on that particular compression adjuster. So just get it to where it's right in the middle again, so you have a good adjustment range to go firmer or softer, to kind of fine tune exactly what you're looking for. Hell yeah.
Thanks, Dave. Well, we're headed up for lap number 1 here on this fresh tune of the Bomber Air. We're at Trestle Bike Park and we're going to be riding a trail called Search and Seizure. It's a fairly technical trail. It's got some berms, some rocky sections, and I think it's going to be the perfect trail to really see what this tune has done to the bike. As Dave recommended to me earlier in the video, we got the rebound at 5 clicks from open and the compression at middle. For some other specs, we're running 180 PSI and we have a 0.5 volume spacer in there. So let's see how this thing feels. So here we are at the top of the trail, and aside from the fresh tune in the shock, everything else on this bike is the same that I've been riding it. 25 PSI in the front, 27 PSI in the rear, same fork settings. I thought it was really great that Luby mentioned how important it is to keep things the same, especially tires. In a way, that is your first form of suspension. And here we go down Search and Seizure. I'll try to keep the commentary rolling. This is actually quite a bit rougher than it was. I think I last rode this maybe a week and a half ago. Those first bumps were a little bit more aggressive, so that's good to see. Instantly, I'm noticing a little bit more support actually, which wasn't exactly what I was expecting to feel right off the bat. Give this thing a little pop. Feeling really good off the top with some really awesome mid-stroke support, which is a little different than I anticipated. So really positive through these first few turns. Focus in here. Dirt is also more moist than I expected, which is always pleasant. Wow, really pumped on this. Nice. Whew. Suppose a good bit of that early, or I suppose mid-stroke support, is coming from running the compression in the middle. Normally I run it all the way open. Feel like I can kind of push in and pump a little bit better. Rebound is feeling nice as well. And there we go. First section of trail done. Initial feelings, I guess, to be honest, with the lighter compression shim stack, I was maybe a little worried, and this could be part of my just ignorance with tuning because it's my first time. I didn't know if it was going to start to feel a little wallowy, but with closing down the low speed compression with the dial, it felt really great. I would say I could almost open that to a quarter turn and it could feel even better. So I think rather than going to a flow trail over here, we're going to stay on the tech and take a right. We're going to go to a quarter turn on that compression, leave the rebound for now. We'll do one change at a time, but really happy with that so far. I would say it is an incremental improvement. My suspension by no means was bad before. It felt great. I'm always super happy with the Marzo product, easy to set up. If you follow the channel, you know that I really like just improving little things on my bikes, and tuning the suspension is kind of that next step for me. So really excited to kind of feel the subtle differences that could make a really big difference as I'm pushing it, riding in video projects and things like that. So really excited for this opportunity, and thank you for Dirt Labs for doing this for me. I've got a really good hunch that I'll probably catch some people on this next section with the race going on, but we'll see. Oh, sketchy. Hit my tree right there. Hit my tree. Hit the bar on the tree. Whoa. Hey now, you're a rock star. On your left. Oh boy. We got people all over the trail today. This is hectic. That was freestyle up there. Heading into Space Ape now. If you watch my last POV video here at Trestle, you'll recognize this section. I just thought it would be nice for this shock because I do know this section really well. We're running the shock with no compression right now. So got that compression knob turned all the way open. We're gonna see how it feels. It's really good, super supple, just what I'm used to. Just lacking a little bit of that mid-stroke. Not able to push in with my feet quite as much. But it felt really, really planted. After a lot of testing, I kind of found I would only go to quarter turn on jumps with the stock tune, at least on this bike. So it's pretty neat to get that extra fine bit of adjustment for using the low speed compression on tech trails like Space Ape and Trestle DH. So really good, eye-opening experience. I have to say, my kind of feelings that I'm experiencing with this rear shock today are very, very reminiscent of my first day on the Grip X fork damper. I was super impressed with that. I'm used to running the Marzo stuff like with this rail damper, which is great. Super simple, easy to set up. And in a way, by the Grip X, even though I would say I'm fairly technically minded, there was a slight bit of overwhelmness that came to me. But over time, I really enjoyed kind of being able to further dial in that fork damper. And I think I'm kind of gonna go down that same rabbit hole with custom tuned suspension where, you know, with the rail damper, I just normally set it all the way open to get as much top end feel as possible, and it works great. I'm still able to ride really, really well. And with the Grip X, I'm able to kind of dial in further and learn more about my preferences. And I think that's exactly what will happen with doing tunes like this one that Dirt Lab did for me on the rear shock. Headed down to the base now. We're back to a quarter turn of the low speed compression, and we're on Lower Boulevard. As I mentioned in my last Trestle POV video, this trail is just brake bump central, so good to feel out the rear shock on this section. One thing I want to note is on this lap, I didn't try any rebound settings. I just really wanted to mess with the compression mostly to start. I will try the rebound throughout the rest of today independently off camera, and I'll share my thoughts in my tempo bike check, which will be coming in a few weeks time. Wow, really great traction through there. A little bit of moist dirt, but I have to say I think that's mostly the rear shock working. Whew. And here we are. This last corner, a little tire roll. Tough program. Cloudy, 70-degree day at Trestle Bike Park. Spoiled, freshly tuned rear shock. Thankful for sure. So what's the bottom line? Does custom tuned suspension really make a difference? Well, in my opinion, after that first lap on my tempo here at Trestle, 100% yes, it does. Now, with that said, I am very in tune with my bike setup. So just because I was able to feel the slight differences that the tuning presented me, doesn't necessarily mean that you will be able to also. I think Luby put it perfectly. 90% of people can get where they need to be with the in-shock or fork adjusters, and 10% of the people need to hop in to the internals. For me, I've been in that 90% group for many years now, and just now, after years of fiddling and trying to maximize my bike's performance, do I feel that I am in the 10% area. Now, with that said, I think my biggest takeaway of this whole opportunity really is that regardless of your tuning, what's really important is to also keep your suspension serviced, which, just to be honest with you, I've been fairly good about in the past, but I think I could be better. With suspension to optimize its performance, you're trying to limit the friction, so fresh oil and seals can go a long way, and I really like that Luby brought up that point. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate the support, and thank you again to Dirt Labs for this opportunity, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.